movie begins with Professor Joseph Hyder sitting inside his Mercedes, quietly staring at a photograph. In the picture, 3 dogs are positioned, one behind the other in a straight line. It looks unnatural, disturbing, like some kind of twisted experiment. Just then, a truck pulls over nearby. The driver steps into the forest to relieve himself. Without hesitation, Professor Joseph calmly raises his gun and shoots him. We are then introduced to 2 young women, Jenny and Lindsay. They are from the United States and are vacationing in Germany. That night, they are driving to a club party with Lindsay on the phone, trying to get directions. Although they are experienced travelers, they are unfamiliar with Germany and don't know the exact location of the party. They are driving a rental car through a dark forest at night when they realize they may be lost. While attempting a U-turn, the car suddenly gets a flat tire. Now they're stranded in the middle of nowhere. They try to call roadside assistance, but there is no signal in the forest. Surrounded by nothing but woods and darkness, they decide to stay inside the car and wait for someone to pass by. Soon, another car approaches. They try to get help, but the man inside quickly notices they are alone and begins harassing them verbally. Terrified, they immediately lock the doors. After a tense moment, the man drives away. With no other option, they decide to look for a nearby house to call for help. Late at night, they begin walking through the forest. In the distance, they spot a light coming from a house and head toward it. Suddenly, heavy rain starts pouring down, and by the time they reach the house, they are completely soaked. They knock on the door. Professor Joseph opens it. They explain their situation and ask him to call a tow truck. Seeing that they are alone, he invites them inside. Once inside, they notice a strange and disturbing painting that immediately catches their attention. The atmosphere feels unsettling. Joseph asks if they are tourists. One of them replies that they are from New York and are visiting Germany. She once again asks him to call for help, but he ignores the request. Instead, he asks, "Are you relatives?" She replies, "No, we are friends." Joseph goes to the kitchen to get them water. He pretends to make a phone call, leading them to believe he is calling for help. In reality, he secretly drugs the water. Lindsay drinks hers, but Jenny accidentally drops her glass before drinking it. Joseph notices his attitude changes. He goes to the basement pretending to clean up the spilled water. Instead, he fills a syringe. Meanwhile, Lindsay begins to feel the effects of the drug. Jenny, who didn't drink the water, once again asks him to call for help, but he refuses. Suddenly, he injects Jenny in the neck. She immediately faints. Later, Joseph is calmly seen having breakfast. Jenny and Lindsay wake up in his laboratory tied to hospital beds. Beside them is another captive, the truck driver from earlier. Joseph enters the lab and tells the man that he is not a suitable match and that it is time for him to die. He injects a toxin directly into the man's arteries, killing him instantly. Afterward, he buries the driver's body in his garden. The professor then kidnaps another man and renders him unconscious using anesthesia. This man is from Japan. He is placed on a bed next to Jenny and Lindsay. When all 3 regain consciousness, they begin screaming in terror. Joseph steps forward and introduces himself as Professor Joseph, a retired surgeon. He explains that he once specialized in conjoining living creatures. He recently performed surgery on 3 dogs, attaching them one behind the other. Now he plans to perform the same operation on Jenny, Lindsay, and the Japanese man. He chose them because their tissue types are compatible. He calmly describes the details of the operation. First, he will sever their knee ligaments so they will never be able to stand upright again. He will attach Subject B to the rear of Subject A and Subject C to the rear of Subject B. He will graft skin from their hips onto their faces and surgically connect the 3 of them as shown in his diagram. When Subject A eats food, the waste will pass into the mouth of Subject B and then into the mouth of Subject C. It is a horrifying and disgusting procedure. No sane person would ever attempt it. But Joseph is not sane. He takes pride in his grotesque experiments. This will be his first time performing it on humans. He injects the Japanese man with a sedative, rendering him unconscious. Jenny screams loudly as he attempts to inject her as well. Meanwhile, Lindsay manages to chew through her restraints and escape. An IV needle is still lodged in her arm, tearing her skin and causing bleeding as she runs. She hides inside a room and shuts the door. Joseph arrives and smashes the room's window. Lindsay escapes again, but accidentally falls into a swimming pool. Joseph follows her and covers the pool with a lid. Suddenly, the power goes out. Using the darkness to her advantage, Lindsay escapes and runs back to the lab. She unties Jenny, who is unconscious from the injection, and drags her outside. But Joseph finds them. He injects Lindsay. She collapses. He carries both of them back to the lab. Then he begins the operation. He first removes their knee ligaments and teeth. He draws incision lines on their bodies with a marker. Then he removes skin from their hips and faces and performs the long, brutal surgery. A few days later, Joseph is seen drinking. In front of him lies his completed human centipede. Japanese man is at the front, Lindsay is in the middle, Jenny is at the rear. Jenny is now the tail. Their wounds are still fresh. Joseph tries to force them to stand. Despite their pain, he makes them pose for a photograph and then shows them their reflection in a mirror. Seeing their horrific condition, they break down in tears. He locks them inside a cage and treats them like animals. And this nightmare continues. Joseph keeps them locked inside a cage, treating them like animals. This continues for many days. He forces the Japanese man at the front to eat like a dog, humiliating him repeatedly. He continues abusing him, showing no sympathy at all. He even takes them outside. At one point, the Japanese man needs to defecate. Because of the way they are surgically connected, his waste is forced directly into Lindsay's mouth. She has no choice but to swallow it. It's a horrifying and degrading process, but Joseph observes it like a scientist monitoring an experiment. Later, Joseph checks their medical condition. He discovers that the Japanese man is physically stable. However, Lindsay has developed an infection because her body is not properly digesting the waste. Meanwhile, Jenny, who is at the very end, is not receiving any nourishment at all. She grows weaker each day. Her wounds become septic and she appears to be slowly dying. Joseph even considers replacing Jenny. Then suddenly there's a knock at the door. 2 police officers have arrived. They are investigating the disappearance of Jenny and Lindsay. Their rental car was found not far from Joseph's house. Joseph calmly claims that he is a busy retired doctor who rarely leaves home. He denies knowing anything about the missing girls. He offers them a drink. The officers ask for coffee. Joseph insists they only have water. His behavior immediately makes the officers suspicious. In the kitchen, he prepares the water, secretly adds a drug to it. One of the officers mentions that someone reported hearing screams coming from the house. They also found Joseph's Mercedes near the truck of another missing person. Hearing this, Joseph becomes visibly agitated and keeps insisting that they drink the water. The officers refuse and knock the glasses out of his hands, pretending to grab a towel to clean up. Joseph instead goes to retrieve a syringe. He plans to sedate them, but this time the officers catch him. Joseph protests, harassing that they cannot harass him without proper reason. He claims they have no right to accuse him without a warrant. The officers decide to leave and return with a warrant. As soon as they are gone, Joseph rushes to his lab. But the human centipede is no longer there. They are hiding suddenly. The Japanese man attacks Joseph. Joseph collapses to the floor. The Japanese man then slits Joseph's throat. The 3 of them attempt to crawl upstairs. Weak from surgery, they struggle to move. Their stitches begin to tear and bleed as they drag themselves up the steps, but Joseph is still alive. Despite his injuries, he crawls after them. As they move upward, he follows, licking their blood from the stairs in a disturbing display of madness. Just as Joseph reaches them, the Japanese man breaks a mirror. He grabs a shard of glass, and instead of attacking Joseph again, he cuts his own throat, killing himself. At that exact moment, the police officers return. At first, they don't see anyone. They check the lab, but it's empty. One of the officers begins to feel dizzy from the drugged water he partially drank earlier. The sedative is starting to take effect. The other officer continues searching and eventually finds the girls. Their condition is horrifying. He then goes to find Joseph. He finds him near the pool. His partner is already dead. Joseph has taken the dead officer's pistol and shoots the remaining officer. The officer manages to return fire, shooting Professor Joseph. Both men die. Silence fills the house. Now only Lindsay and Jenny remain, still connected as a 2-segment centipede. It was the grotesque experiment of a madman. The movie ends.